Hey everybody, welcome back. Church of the Harvest Family Ministries Parent Podcast, and I am so excited. My name is Royce, Family Ministries Pastor here at Church of the Harvest, and this is my lovely wife,
Jenny, Children's Director, Church of the Harvest.
She is our Children's Director here at Church of the Harvest, and it has been a minute. It's been a wild summer. We had an amazing remodel project that we did throughout the summer, and so we've been jumping into the late summer and fall season, and it is bumping up against November real quick. Today, as of the day that we're recording this, it's actually October 31st, which is also known as
Reformation Day?
Exactly, yeah,
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So it's when Martin Luther tacked the 95 Thesis on the door to the Catholic Church and became a heretic and then defended that and started a Reformation. It's great. That happened that day. And then later, it got hijacked by some candy companies, I think, and so some kids are going to knock on your door tonight. But they're not going to discuss doctrine with you. Probably. Maybe. If they do, please connect me with them.
I mean, maybe give them extra candy.
Definitely give them extra candy. But at any rate, with it being the conclusion of October, moving into November, obviously, maybe not obviously, but somewhat stereotypically is, in my opinion, one of the gold mines of our annual calendar. Somewhat because a long time ago, 1792, or no, when was it? Was Columbus?
I think that might be it. Rhymes.
Is it? No, because it was 1776 that the United States was established, so that's definitely not it.
That's not
Anyway, a long time ago, Christopher Columbus founded the Americas. I'm not a historian in that regard. But he found a place that there were already people on, and then it was complicated.
We're here.
And we're here. And we have a holiday in the middle of Thanksgiving, or at the end of Thanksgiving, rather, that's called Thanksgiving.
The end of November.
I said, what did I say?
Thanksgiving.
October? Yeah, what did I?
You said at the end of Thanksgiving, we have Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Oh my.
Because that is exactly what you should do once you stop being thankful, is be thankful again. No, I'm playing, I just misspoke. So yeah, in November we have Thanksgiving, and thankfulness is, for those of you who don't know, and all of you who have children, which is hopefully all of you, will know this, is that gratitude, or the area of the brain that is responsible for lighting up whenever you are grateful or thankful for something, is the exact side of the brain, or the part of the brain that mitigates against anxiety and depression, which, makes sense to some degree because, gratitude tends to ward off depression.
We're recognizing the things in our life.
So, that being said,
Yes.
what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for going into November?
Oh, there's a lot of things.
Oh, we have a podcast. We get to say all the things.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But, I mean, you say all the things. Like, I have amazing friends and an awesome family and really cool coworkers. Just saying.
I'm waiting for one word. There's a word in there. Husband. That was the word I was waiting for.
I said family. I mean, they wouldn't exist if you weren't around too.
I'm to blame to some extent, yes. Yeah, no, the people that do, I think that not just friends, but people who can be honest with you in a gracious manner.
Right, I think all of the things that I just said, for the most part, are people that I do life with genuinely.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and have earned the space to do that, right? Like there's a responsible space where in a relationship we go into areas that are more maybe intense, or different things that we're dealing with, and the vulnerability, and it takes a recognition of gratitude to understand where those spaces are. And that actually helps a lot with different social anxieties and other things for kids that are developing especially. Right. And so I think the month of Thanksgiving, and you see this happen too, the month of Thanksgiving, the month of November, which has Thanksgiving in it. It's just going to be known as Thanksgiving from now on. The whole month of November is Thanksgiving.
This is the best thing. Okay,
if I gain 70 pounds this month, you'll know why. Every day is Thanksgiving.
You really like sweet potato casserole. I know why.
Why wouldn't you like sweet potato casserole? I mean, if you're allergic to sweet potatoes, 100%. But other than that, it's a phenomenal food.
Okay.
I think it's interesting that Philippians chapter 4, I've been stuck on this verse for so long, and I think it's super appropriate going into this month. And as family members, as parents, I want you to think about what Paul's saying here. So Philippians chapter 4, Philippians is it's Paul's happy epistle. It's his letter that was optimistic in its tone, versus something like Galatians, which is more corrective and harsh in a little way. But anyway, he says this is very important words. Finally, brothers, in verse 8, chapter 4, verse 8, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, I'm going to do this, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable. Because all of these words matter. Like whatever, what is true, what is just. Again, notice all of these things are positive enforcements, right? So true, honorable, just, pure, lovely, commendable. If there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Okay, so our mind space gets so clouded, especially it's first semester for your kids. They're running and gunning with homework and phones and social lives and starting a new school year and maybe a new school and new social situations, and that can come with a lot of chaos. That can come with a lot of new challenges. And yet, so Paul's saying, hey, in situations, seasons like that, like the Philippians aren't necessarily unscathed in their culture. It's not like Christianity is wildly accepted in Caesarea Philippi. I don't know if we know what Caesarea Philippi means, but that's a Greek name that was named after a Caesar. He was named after an emperor. And so not exactly the most Christian-friendly place. So they deal with these social dynamics, and he's saying, hey, there's a lot of chaos going on. Yeah. There's a lot of things to be critical about. I know that they're not doing the things that, this spot isn't doing what you want them to do, and these people disagree with you significantly. And in the middle of all of those complexities, whatever's true, whatever is just, whatever is lovely, whatever is praiseworthy, anything, if there's any excellence, and for me, practically, the way I read that into like my life is like, I'm just imagining a scenario. Charlotte has gone into the 6th grade, our youngest, and she's now encountered actual homework.
Oh, yes.
Elementary school homework is not actual homework.
At least at her school, it wasn't.
True. Yeah, true.
Other people have different
I mean,
experiences.
school projects and fun stuff, and that's all good.
No,
but,
like homework.
And math is not her favorite animal.
It actually is. Like when you ask her what her favorite subject is, it's math. But
socialization.
But no, she's in advanced math, and so it's harder. She has to think. She doesn't
socializing in advanced math.
She doesn't just get to fake it till she makes it.
Yeah, but it's tough, and she's encountering those kinds of things, and the perspective that I put myself in is, what if she came home and she had a 10 problem assignment, and she got 9 of them wrong? She got 9 of the 10 wrong.
Be a rough day.
It is a rough day if you're counting only the 9.
Yeah.
And what Paul's saying, in the way that I read it or interpret it, is hey, there's a lot of things that are incorrect and a lot of things that we need to fix here. Don't skip the part that's right. Don't skip over. Because the one correct thing, if we don't acknowledge it, it doesn't lead to inspiring the next correct thing. And so when we look at the one thing, and look, there's a balance point here, because don't praise your kids for getting a 10%. Unless they try their hardest, to be honest, like if that's the effort that they have and that's what they give and that's what they know, then you should probably have conversations with their teachers at that point, or you already know your kid and that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But there is a look at what the win is, look at what's right. And when you focus on that, my experience has been when I focus on it and I communicate it, then it grows. Focus alone really doesn't lend to communication, because it oftentimes gets skipped. And I want you to think, like, how many things did your kid not pick up this week?
Don't look at me like that.
I didn't. Well, it's our kids. I didn't say we.
Oh, okay.
What things got missed? What areas were left incomplete, or maybe frustrated you because you know that the potential of a thing, our children or ourselves oftentimes, doesn't line up with the opportunity or the potential of a thing. Oftentimes, my experience has been finding the gap in those two realities is the recognition, the focus, and the recognition, the verbal recognition of the good.
Okay, so it just reminds me of the fact that of the 4 people in our family, I am the only one that consistently pushes in my chair after dinner.
Used to be the only one.
Yes, correct. Yes, because I started saying to anybody else who pushed in their chair, as they were all in the living room and I was cleaning up the kitchen, I would say, hey, thanks, Charlotte, for pushing in your chair. And I'd push in everybody else's chair. And she'd be like, oh, you're welcome. And then the next night, it wasn't her. It was you and Chloe. Hey, thanks, guys, for pushing in your chair. Charlotte's like, oh, I forgot. And just that consistent, like, I'm grateful. I'm glad that you did that. Thank you so much. And I recognize that you did it. It helps me tremendously. Now, 75% of the time, I am not the only one that pushes in my chair. It worked. And it wasn't snarky. It was a genuine, like, hey, thank you for doing that.
Well, here's the deal. Gratitude grows things. Gratitude. And I would even go as far as to say gratitude in and of itself is not enough. It has to be expressed. We're grateful. Look, if you counted the amount of times this week that you thought about someone in a positive light, but you never communicated it with them, you would be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It hits us so often where we have a moment, we're recognizing that this moment is made so much better because of A, B, and C, people that are in our lives, or things that people have done, work that they've done. And so oftentimes it goes without being communicated. And they've even done this with plants. Do you know this study, or have you heard of it? Have you heard of like the verbal?
I'm friends with Katie.
Yeah.
So
Katie is the plant
I know some things
wizard.
about plants, okay?
She is a plant wizard. And I don't know what it is about plants, but this is true. So they did a very
love
famous.
them and sing to
No,
them.
look, they did a very famous experiment with plants over a period of time. I'm forgetting the exacts, but it doesn't matter. It's somewhat irrelevant. But to a plant, this is a thing that grows. Hold on, let me just for visualization. This is, I think, a fake plant. Katie,
This is not a fake plant.
It's a real
she
plant.
would never.
This is alive. And if I said, the study showed that over the course of whatever period of time they had this, if I watered it and gave it all the nutrients that it needed, but then I complained to it, or if I picked on it, or if I was cynical or negative, it would die. It dies. And then they also did the exact same thing. They gave it nutrients, they gave it the water that it needed, they gave it the sunlight that it needed, and then they praised it. Now, keep in mind,
You're so pretty.
we're talking about English words that are used to communicate, or whatever language the study was done, I'm pretty sure it was English, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Plants don't know words, but for some reason, the energy that is expressed whenever or say it better, the spirit that is imposed on this, whenever my spirit aligns with God's perspective, causes whatever object is in the middle of that to grow further into its God-given potential. But it takes having a recognition of something that is in potential form.
Thank you, plant. You did a great job.
Good job, plant. And therefore we praised it, and that's going to be very tough tomorrow. No, but like there's something to the reality that gratitude grows things.
Yeah.
So, what does it grow? That's the question. And I think it grows awareness. I think it grows empathy. I think it grows relationships. I think it grows communities. And I think it is the thing that we all have immediate, unfettered access to. And it may be the thing that we have the most access to that we activate the least, possibly other than prayer in God's presence, because you can never access that too much. And it's the process of recognizing, let me ask a question, actually.
Oh, geez.
Let me ask a question.
Okay.
What do you think keeps us from recognizing or being consciously aware of things that we're grateful for?
Personally,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with practice. So like I tell our girls, one goal for the day, every day is to find something about someone else that you can compliment or you can say something kind to them. It's not hard. It's as easy as saying, hey, I like your shirt, or you look nice today, or whatever, your shoes are cool. It doesn't matter. Find something about someone else to compliment them on. It doesn't cost you anything. It's going to give them a little bit better of a day, and then you are aware and recognizing things more frequently and stopping to take the opportunity to say something to someone else, but it also really helps them.
What about the people who they get hung up on doing that as a practice because of the way that another person might interpret it? Like maybe they think, well, maybe that person would think I'm flirting with them, and I don't want to give that type of an intent. Or, like there's excuses that we come up with in our head that keep us from doing these types of things, and we're just trying to
Again, in my world, I tell our girls to support their local female. So find another girl, because that's what we have in our house. And girls are hard, and girls are not always kind to each other. So find another girl. Like, find someone else that is on your level. It could be a friend. It could be someone that normally sits by themselves. Like, it doesn't matter. Just be a kind human.
And it does somewhat boil down to kindness, I think. And then this is, I guess, the last part, and then we'll let you enjoy your month of Thanksgiving, also known as November. But I think one of the things that people get hung up on is, I don't know if I'm selfishly motivated, and that's why I'm encouraging this person. Like, am I telling them something so that I can get something later? And that's a very complicated line. There is a difficulty in separating, and these are going to sound like they're contrary, but they're not, generosity and selfishness. Generosity obviously is not inherently selfish, and it doesn't come from a selfish place, and that's what makes it generosity. But there is something, because we reciprocate, that when we put out into a relationship something that is generous, there does have a tendency to be an influx. And so Jesus gives us this, paradox, you could say. I think it's in Matthew chapter 16. I could be wrong about that. I'm not a very good Bible reader. But he says that he who seeks to save his life will lose it. It's kind of like, think about the sand in the hand. The tighter you grip it, the more it seeps through, because you're gripping it so tight. And that's control, right? But he says, but he who loses his life on account for me will find it. And what you find there is there's only one authentic life. John 10:10, Jesus says that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I came to give life, and life more abundantly. And that more abundant, it's great phraseology, but it's actually a bad translation. The word's perisos in Greek. It means without perimeter or without limit. So Jesus is literally saying, I came to give life, and life without limit. The hard part about that is so oftentimes we have a tendency to make Christianity about its limitations in its practice. And it's not about that in its essence. It's really about our yes. It's really about aligning the parts of our lives where God is encouraging the potential that's in us, not through a furrowed brow, you need to do better perspective, but as a dad who is excited and he sees the fullness of our potential and he is leading us into the next step. And to be fair, that doesn't mean it's comfortable. I'm not saying this is a comfortable process. There's a cross in this process, and we're told to carry it. And it transforms us because it changes us. And what it does is it, in a very similar way, but in a very different way also, it rips the flesh from us. Just like when Jesus was hung on the cross, his flesh was torn. And it was a symbol of sorts to the process of carrying the cross, in that we shed our flesh. I don't mean our skin and our epidermis, right? I mean our sarx, it's a Greek word for our fleshly nature, our carnality. And it's in that space that God is championing us. And the way that this extrapolates itself in my life is most commonly, or it's founded in Matthew chapter 3 for me. So Matthew chapter 3 is the baptism of Jesus before he does anything. And John the Baptizer is baptizing him, and the Holy Spirit descends out of heaven likened unto a dove onto Jesus, and the voice of God speaks. And it's one of two times. There's the Mount of Transfiguration, and there's this account. Paul's account is similar, but these are the two that have to do with Jesus. There were two times that God audibly spoke, that everyone could hear that was in that environment. And the baptism of Jesus, one of the Mount of Transfiguration is the other. But in that, he says, "This is my beloved Son, whom I love, and with him I'm well pleased." That's the foundation of where we start from. That's God's perspective.
Yeah.
When we're, for those of us who are in Christ, because we have to understand, and this is where the gratitude of God comes from that grows us, is that when he sees us, we're covered in Christ. There is no greater definition of perfection. There is no greater accomplishment. There is no more fulfillment. There is no beyond that. We can understand what that means more fully, but the factual nature and the true reality is we've been given everything for life and godliness. And been given it without deserving it.
Yeah.
And the only right response is, well, the month of Thanksgiving.
Stop it. You know, I'm going to have to redo our calendar for November, and I'm going to write Thanksgiving across the top of it and look silly.
I'm not saying that everyone has to, but feel free to do whatever it is that you like in your home in that sense. And be grateful and thankful while you do it. And we're grateful and thankful for you guys. And we love you so much. And can't wait to see you soon. Bye.